Love Island is one of the hottest dating shows on TV right now. Millions of people tune in every single week to watch strangers form relationships, fall in love, and face all kinds of drama in a tropical villa. It's addictive, it's entertaining, and 100% wild. But beyond the flirting and the questionable challenges, there's a lot more going on beneath the surface. Season 7 of Love Island USA alone racked up 18 billion minutes watched on Peacock. That's where it's streamed. Yes, billions, not millions. So a lot of people have been tuning in. Since the season launched on June 3rd, it stayed at #1 on the streaming reality charts for 6 weeks straight, crushing the competition every single time. This season wasn't just popular, it made history. It's now Peacock's most watched original series ever, and it holds the record for the platform's biggest mobile audience too. And what's crazy as well is almost half of the viewers watching this season were watching for the first time. So it wasn't just diehard fans coming back. This season brought so many new viewers, which just shows you how crazy and how impactful it was. But this show is not just about couples and challenges, it's a cultural mirror, reflecting what we believe is pretty, who gets to be in the spotlight, and who ends up getting roasted by the fans and the media. So in this video, we're breaking down the Love Island look, and then we're going to talk about the beauty paradox of it all and explore the bigger conversation about race, representation, and realness in reality TV. So whether you're a diehard fan, a skeptic, or just here for the tea, buckle up. Because this isn't just a show about love. It's about what happens when beauty standards are put under a microscope and about who gets to be called pretty. So hopefully by the end of today's video, we can answer this question. Who really gets to decide what pretty looks like? And what does this mean for everyone else watching? Let's get into this video. Yeah. Part 1. The Love Island aesthetic. If there's one thing about Love Island, it's the fact that you can already picture the cast before the season even airs. To get on Love Island, you have to be attractive. I feel like producers don't want to say it, but like if you read the room, if you watch the show, you know you have to be attractive. I'm talking like flat stomach, clear skin, tanned bodies, full lips, long hair, I would say. Maybe short hair too, but I mean, most of the girls I saw had long hair, possibly veneers. Like you just have to look put together. Like everything has to be on point basically to get on the show. And also you have to look young and be young. You can't be over 30 on the show just because that is the rule the show has. So basically, as I said before, you just have to be very, very attractive. I would say kind of like an Instagram filter in real life or TikTok filter in real life. And while this has been true for a very long time, like if you go back and watch all the seasons of Love Island, you'll see that this aesthetic is very prominent in the show. However, I do want to focus on season 7 because this season was just a lot. First of all, it brought out a lot of people's true colors, and it is the most recent, and I did watch this season from start to finish. I watched it for y'all. There's a reason why I'm good at public speaking, probably because I've had to defend myself against internet trolls more times than I can count online. And there's a reason why Morgan & Morgan is America's largest injury firm, because when you get hurt, you want a team that fights harder for you than I argue online. Morgan & Morgan has over 1,000 attorneys nationwide, and they have recovered more than $25 billion for over 500,000 clients. And trust me, it's not just talk, their results are actually wild. One of their clients in Pennsylvania actually received a $29 million settlement after previously only being offered $500,000 from their insurance company. And another client in Florida received $12 million after their insurance company only offered them $350,000. It is just so crazy that one decision can change your life so much. Imagine their clients had accepted the initial offer. Just imagine that. Not all law firms are created equal, and hiring the wrong one can seriously cost you. I mean, did you hear the numbers? So if you or your friend or your family member are ever injured, which I hope not, because of someone else's negligence, you can check out Morgan & Morgan. You can start your claim with just a click, no need to leave the house. Just head to my link, or you can check out the description box down below or the pinned comment. And the best part is that they are free unless they win. Thank you to Morgan & Morgan for sponsoring this video. Now let's continue. Love Island might technically be about finding love, but let's be real, that is not the main reason why people watch. A huge part of the appeal is the cast, and this goes for the men of the show and the women of the show. People, like the audience, we like to see attractive people. We like to look at that. It's like if you're on your way to work, walking down the street, and you see someone attractive, and you kind of do a double take just because you find them attractive. So of course, Love Island producers, they're gonna keep casting people who are attractive because that is a huge part of the appeal. The men are usually tall, they're tanned, they got gym bodies with either a sharp jawline or perfectly curated facial hair. And the girls are honestly the same energy as well, as I mentioned earlier. So you're not watching regular people fall in love. You're watching people who are classified as TikTok pretty fall in love. And I put that in quotations just because I don't believe the show is about finding love. I'm so sorry. Like, I feel like half the people there are there to like boost their careers or get some money or jumpstart their influencing career. You know what I'm saying? Are y'all really there for love? Because some of y'all are just questionable. I feel like back in the day when they brought regular people on the show, then okay, yeah, maybe people were trying to find love or get their 15 minutes of fame. But now with Love Island, you could use Love Island to jumpstart your career because millions of people are tuning in. So that's why I'm a little bit skeptical that people actually go there to find love, especially how it is now. But I mean, we can't prove it, so I'm just yapping right now. Who knows, maybe these people are actually there for love. I stalked the Instagram of earlier contestants on the show, like from season 1 to season 4, just to show you guys the difference with how Love Island has evolved and how now it's really about building your brand and becoming like an influencer or whatever. Like, I went back to season 4 and I looked at all their Instagrams, and I'm just gonna tell you how many followers the season 4 cast has compared to the season 7 cast. So this is Love Island USA season 4. This is their following. Not everyone's following though. So Serenity Springs, she has around 55k followers. Andy has around 36k. Isaiah Campbell has almost 200k. Maddie is close to 100k. Then Tyler is at 27.8k. And they were all in season 4. And obviously some of them have higher followings and some of them have lower followings. But it's just crazy because if you compare their follower count to the season 7 follower count, you can see that there's a big difference. So let me just tell you how many followers the season 7 cast has. So Jemiah has 857,000 followers. Shelly has 2 million. Olandria as well has 2 million. Iris has 1.4 million. And Amaya has 3.8 million. I didn't read everyone's following because there's a lot of people on the season. But you can tell there's a very big difference with the numbers. So that's why it's hard to believe that y'all are there for love, but I could be wrong. So the main ladies on Love Island USA were Shelly, Orlandria, Huda, Sierra, Iris, and Amaya. All who were praised but also belittled for their looks. So first we have Amaya. She's 25 years old. She's from New York and she's a registered nurse. I mean, she probably quit now because of her newfound fame, but you know, shout out to her. Then we have Olandria. She's 27 from Alabama and she works in the elevator/escalator industry. And her looks have also been a hot discussion that we have to talk about in this video. Then one of the most popular contestants was Huda. She's 24 from North Carolina and she's a fitness coach. Then Iris later came on the show and she was a fan favorite as well. She's 25 and she was/is an influencer and a spray tan artist. Like before she went on Love Island, it looked like she was already an influencer. And no hate to her as well, but see, when I feel like people are already influencers and they go on a show like Love Island, it does feel like, okay, you're going there because it's going to boost your fame. And there's nothing wrong with that, but I'm just saying, like, y'all call it Love Island, I call it Promo Island. Then we also have Vanna, who was not on the show for a long time. I feel like she was there for like literally 2 days in the villa, not very long. But when she was there, she definitely did make an impact because a lot of people were talking about her. So she's 21, she's from Utah, and she is an influencer and a social media brand ambassador. Then we have Andrina, who literally looks like a Fashion Nova model. I don't know if she's been in Fashion Nova before, but it's definitely giving that. Like, she has the look, the body, the aesthetic, everything. Like, her aesthetic is literally giving IG back. But she's very pretty. She's 24 years old, from Spain, and she works as a model. And when she first came in the villa, the guys were going crazy over her because she was a baddie, I can't lie. But quickly the hype around her died down, and people have a lot to say about that as well. They think that she has no personality and that she's boring, so that's why the guys didn't like her. And I mean, everyone has the right to their opinion, but I did did find her very pretty, and also I'd like to remind myself that the show is very edited, so you know, we don't see everything going on. But yeah, very gorgeous girl. Next we have Sierra, which I'm sure you probably know her. Even if you don't watch the show, you probably have heard about her just because there's been a lot of backlash surrounding her, a lot of controversy, a lot of drama, and it's been a lot. But I will get into that in the next section. So she's 25 years old and she is a brand, partnerships, and influencer talent manager. Then we have another popular contestant. Her name is Shelly. She's a day trader from New York and she is 27. So those are the main girlies from Love Island, and we're going to be talking about them, so make sure you are listening so you know who they are. But now that we have that out of the way, I wanted to ask y'all a question on Instagram just to gauge how you feel when you see people like these ladies on your screen. So I asked, how do you feel about watching people with perfect faces and bodies on reality TV/social media? Only 6% of people said that they felt inspired by watching people with perfect faces and bodies on reality TV or social media. And when I say perfect, I put it in quotations because there's no such thing as the perfect body or perfect face, but you know what I mean, like someone who's considered very attractive. And I would say that I personally felt inspired, but that was when I was younger. When I was younger, I would watch like reality TV, I would watch award shows when they were really popular, and I would always see these really pretty ladies, and I'm like, wow, like that inspires me to try to look like them. So I feel like when I was younger, I definitely was inspired as well. Then 25% admitted that they feel insecure, which is heartbreaking, but honestly not surprising, because when you're seeing a bunch of attractive people 24/7 and they're the ones who are getting attention, love, and fame, money, or whatever, it's natural to feel insecure, you know, we're human. Then the majority, 59%, said that they feel curious about what is real, which tells me that we're in this weird era of beauty where everything feels manufactured to the point where you're wondering what is real and what is not. People aren't admiring faces no more. They're literally studying them. They're trying to see what's the filler, what procedures they got done, so they can A, either do it for themselves, or B, just know not to compare themselves to someone who had to get work done. And I would say I choose this answer just because I am a very curious person, and now beauty procedures are so advanced to the point where you cannot tell if they're done. Sometimes. Like sometimes it's very obvious that work has been done, but for other people, like it looks very natural. It just looks like it's them. I am curious about what's real and what's not, and just because beauty procedures, plastic surgery is very common now, so I just want to know what's real, like before I even let myself compare myself to someone else, which I know I should not do because, you know, none of us should do it. But before I even let myself compare myself to someone, I want to know if it's real. You know, like I'm not trying to compare myself to someone who would under the knife like 5 times to look the way they look, and no shade to them. If you're new to the channel, you might not know, but I'm not a big fan of plastic surgery. I'm not a fan of plastic surgery, period, but I'm never gonna shame someone for getting it. But what I'm trying to get at is just that I don't want to compare myself to someone who has gone under the knife when I am not willing to do that. Because I don't want to do that. And I think it's important too, just for people to be transparent and not sell people false dreams or false hopes. But it's just important to be aware of what is surgically enhanced, what is filtered, and what is filled. Because if we're not, then it's very easy to be chasing a standard that's not even real. Unless you're willing to go under the knife, of course. Then only 9% said that they were jealous, which did surprise me, but also thank you for keeping it real. Jealousy is normal and it's way more common than we would like to admit, just because if you say you're jealous, you sound bitter, you sound terrible, and people are just gonna label you as a terrible person. But honestly, it's a natural feeling. Like we all feel it, so don't lie. Don't say you never felt it because we know you felt it, period. But honestly, to me, jealousy is not a bad thing. It just depends on how you act on it. If you let it manifest and linger and just like build up inside of you, of course, that's not good. Don't do that. But if you feel the jealousy, but you don't let it linger too long, and also you take steps to not be jealous and to change your own life to be where you want to be, then that's a whole different story. And then one of you swiped up to my poll and I found it funny, so I just wanted to read it. So Raya, she said, neither. I'm just like, damn, they pretty, and move on. So clearly not all of you are fazed by pretty faces on the screen, which is a good thing. And I feel like that's probably the healthiest answer out of all of them. It's good to acknowledge beauty without letting it shake your self-worth. So thank you all for participating in these polls. It always makes the video interesting. So if you want to be part of future polls, you can check me out on Instagram. It's NK's World with 2 Ds. And I got more questions coming up, so don't you go anywhere. Okay, So the Love Island look has slowly become synonymous with the Instagram face over the years. And I talked about the Instagram face in my baddie video and also my facelift video. So make sure you check those ones out. The people on the screen, whether it's on your phone or TV, they are going to reflect the beauty standards of today, simply because beauty gets rewarded and people like looking at attractive people. That's part of the appeal. But one of the most unsettling parts of the Instagram face phenomenon is how it plays a game of aesthetic pick and choose with racial features. It's like a menu of traits, you know, the lips of a black woman, the eyes of an East Asian woman, the cheekbones of an indigenous model, and then a Eurocentric nose. And all those features are stitched together to make this like racially ambiguous face, and it's just enough to seem exotic, but still good for the mainstream audiences. And that's why I feel the women on the show who fit into that aesthetic the most tend to have the most success after Love Island has premiered. So take Leah from season 6 of Love Island. She is the most followed female islander from that season, and she has 5.2 million followers on Instagram. And then Huda from season 7, she is very popular as well, and she has 4.6 million followers. But honestly, let's double check that right now because it probably went up. Okay, so she still has 4.6 million followers. It didn't go up, but still, that's a lot of people to follow you from a show. And also, here's the thing. I know that follower count aren't the only markers for success. Like a lot of the castmates, sure, they don't have as many followers as Huda or Leah, but they're doing well for themselves. They have full-out careers, so they're definitely not failures or anything like that, so don't get it twisted. That is not what I'm trying to say. But I just couldn't help but noticing this pattern. I have not watched season 6 of Love Island, but I did hear that it's the best season yet, so maybe I'll watch it. But I know Leah was a fan favorite, and in season 7, I did watch that one, and Huda's actions definitely did contribute to her popularity for sure. But I do believe that it's these ladies' looks that did contribute to their popularity. Like they both have that same ambiguous but aspirational face that we just talked about. And of course, they are the ones that are getting the brand deals, the press, the millions of followers. I mean, Huda had an interview on Call Her Daddy podcast, which now has over 7.5 million views. So even if you don't care about the numbers, because honestly, same, the numbers are a telling story. Because when the same kind of face keeps winning, it starts to feel less like a coincidence and more like a system. And it's a system that rewards a very narrow version of beauty, one that does cherry pick features from different cultures, strips them of their roots, and repackages them as aspirational only when they appear on the right kind of face. And this isn't just about personal beauty choices, it's the result of beauty colonialism, where features that were once mocked or marginalized are now considered trendy when it's on a white or white passing woman. You know, full lips, they weren't desirable until Kylie Jenner started selling her lip kits and got lip injections. And now tan skin is the tea. Like everyone's trying to be tan, nobody wants to be like white. So it's just very interesting how trends change over time and how certain features are considered ugly on a marginalized group, but then when someone who is not part of that group has that same look, then it's not considered ugly anymore. And this is not me taking a dig at Leah and Huda. I think they both slay, but when you start to recognize a pattern, like honestly, I don't think it's a coincidence, and it's not their fault that their look is the one that's considered the most desirable or that's put on the pedestal. It's not their fault because really they can't control it. And of course, if you have that advantage, of course you're gonna take it. So this is not me taking a dig at them, but just really analyzing the situation and just clocking the tea really. Because when it comes to the Instagram face, it does not celebrate racial diversity. It flattens it, and it turns centuries of cultural identity into a viral template or filter. And when everyone starts chasing the same hyper-optimized look, cultural features stop being symbols of heritage and start becoming aesthetic trends. However, I have talked about this before a bit, and I feel like the Instagram face is kind of losing its grip, but not entirely. Like I still think it's profitable and it's doing well, but we are seeing a shift from the Instagram baddie overdone face into like the clean girl, minimalistic, looking young and snatched face. And I talked about that a lot in my facelift video. Like the goal now is not to look like an IG baddie, it's to look like a clean girl, a minimalistic girl that lives in Europe and is about to inherit like $1 million from her parents. Like that's a look that seems to be slowly becoming mainstream. Honestly, it's a weird pivot and I feel like it's been happening slowly and slowly. So we're gonna see how how it is in like a couple years, maybe the next 2 years, but I definitely low-key want to do a deep dive into it because I think that would be really interesting to explore. Anyways, now that we know what the Love Island look is and we know some of the girls, let's get into the next section of this video. Part 2, the beauty paradox. What happens when you do everything in your power to fit the beauty standard, but people still make fun of you? We are living in the middle of a beauty paradox. The girls are following the rules, you know, they're getting their veneers, they're getting their boobies done, they're getting their BBLs, they're making sure their skin is clear, they're getting the filler, the Botox, whatever you need. They're getting the requirements to fit into the beauty standard. However, the more they try, the more people resent them for it, and the more people call them fake, ugly plastic. And it's crazy. And in some cases, you're literally doing everything you can to be seen as attractive, but in the process, you start to slowly lose yourself emotionally, physically, mentally. And it's not just about how you look, it's about how far you're willing to go to belong. So in this section, I want to talk about some of the ladies who have caught flack for how they look. Starting with Vanna. If you have already watched the show, then you know this one was coming. Her looks were probably talked about the most out of the whole show, but to be fair, she was only on the show for like 2-3 days. If she was on the show longer, I definitely think there would have been more hate directed at her, but it was a lot. The controversy surrounding Vanna is an important discussion to have, so make sure you grab your snacks and tune in, and also subscribe, and let's get into it. Vanna was the youngest contestant on Love Island USA. She is 21 years old, and she was one of the Casa Amor girls. So on Love Island, Casa Amor is a major twist of the show's format. So it's basically a separate villa where a new group of islanders, usually the bombshells or the new arrivals, are introduced to try to tempt and test the existing couples that have already been formed. The original islanders get sent to Casa Amor for a bit, and then the new arrivals come and try to woo them. The goal is to see if the original couples can stay loyal or if they'll break up and couple up with someone new. So Vanna, she was one of the Casa Amor girls, and she was basically there to see if she could break up any couples. Anyways, while Vanna was there, her look was a hot topic. When I was watching the show, and even before I got on social media to check what people were saying about her, I already knew what the conversation was gonna be about. Like, I already knew. And that's why I low-key feel like the Love Island producers did her so dirty, because as a producer, shouldn't you anticipate what the audience would say about Vanna? But anyways, the major criticism that Vanna faced was the fact that she's 21 years old, but many people believe that she looks way older than her age. There's been a ton of speculation on what she has done to her face, whether it's surgery, Botox, filler, you name it, people have speculated everything in the book. And I'm gonna keep it 100 with y'all, as always. It is clear that Vanna has done work to her face. I don't know all the procedures, I'm not gonna speculate, but it's obvious. She's openly admitted that she has gotten lip filler and got her boobies done, and that's about it, so we're just gonna go based off that. And of course, the internet did what it does best, and they found old photos of her in high school and started to compare her face to see what was real, what was fake, and what work she has gotten done. And a lot of people, especially on TikTok, they believe that Vanna started getting work done when she was only 16 years old. This is not confirmed though, so we don't know. But the comments, they were definitely something else, but let me just read some of them. One of them said, "Dissolve it all, Miss Girl." Another added, "All the girls saying you look amazing. That's the problem. No one speaks the truth." And then someone else hit her with, "I think filler is fun. Botox, great. Implants, sure. But this much, it's actually scary." Due to all the backlash that Vanna was receiving, she went on a podcast and she decided to clear the air. She said that she was having an allergic reaction to the pillows that she was sleeping on because she's not supposed to sleep on feathered pillows, but that's the pillows that the Love Island producers gave her. So it made her face very red and puffy in the morning, and it made her look overfilled. And that's what people have been saying, that she has too much filler in her face, and that's why she looks way older than 21 years old.
Saying that I filler in things that like you don't like, but I was born with it. And people were saying like, overfilled. You guys, I was sleeping on a feather pillow. I was having an allergic reaction every single day.
Oh my gosh, I'm allergic
Did not know
too. Oh, it's the worst.
I can't sleep on a feather pillow. So basically I woke up every day, my eyes were swollen. Of course, my whole face is swollen. That's why I looked overfilled, not making excuses for myself.
I will say on the actual show, she did look overfilled, and I just assumed that it was filler, but she has said that it wasn't filler. And seeing her outside of the show, she does look 100 times better. So that's where I feel like the producers really did her dirty, because wouldn't they have not seen that her face was puffy or just like something looked off, and to be like, hey, like what's going on? Like, do you need like medicine, or maybe change her pillowcase? Like, you know what I'm saying? So I definitely feel like they could have done something because they should know how the internet is. They should know, like, Love Island already, people watch that show and they drag the contestants. Like, it's actually insane. So why would y'all willingly put her in that position? However, I will say though, with Vanna, she is very pretty, but I do feel sad, and I definitely feel like it does mess with your self-perception when you are getting work done that early. Cause like a boob job and lip filler like before 21 to me kind of sounds crazy, not gonna lie. Cause at that age you're already so young, and I feel like doing those procedures definitely has the ability to age you. And I feel like also you're young too, so you're not really thinking, or you don't really have as much knowledge about these procedures, and I feel like it's very easy to do too much to the point where it's aging you, that it's not even making you look younger or do its purpose, if that makes sense. And because of this situation, I wanted to get y'all's opinion on it on Instagram. So I asked, if someone looks older because of the work they got done, what do you assume? 32% said none of my business, which is the most popular answer. And I'll be honest, this is not my initial reaction when I see someone who has gotten work done and it looks like it's too much. Like, I won't even lie, my initial reaction is to feel sorry for them, or to wonder, like, why would they do that? Like, why would you do that to yourself? Like, why would you do that to your body? Like, that is my initial reaction. And I just feel sorry for them because I feel like they can't see their beauty without all those extra enhancements that are 9 times out of 10 not needed, in my opinion. And I felt the same way when I saw Molly May. She was a contestant on Love Island UK. She didn't win, but she was a runner-up, and she ended up being one of the most popular contestants of that season. And at one point, she posted a YouTube video after getting a fresh round of filler, and somebody took a screenshot before the filler had settled properly, and the image went viral on Twitter because people thought she looked terrible, like the filler made her look almost unrecognizable. And after that whole controversy where people were roasting her, I feel like she had an awakening, and she was like, I actually don't need all that filler on my face. Because eventually she stopped getting work done, and she started even reversing some other procedures, and now she does speak out about how normalized filler has become for young women and how dangerous it is. And she wasn't saying that she looked ugly, she was just saying that she looked like a stranger, and that hit different. And with cosmetic work, I'm already not a fan of it just because I do feel like it is unnecessary, and I hate the fact that it's sort of becoming the default for women in their early 20s to do to be considered attractive. But if you do decide to do it, I feel like you gotta be careful, you gotta be smart with it, just so you don't overdo it, because I think it's easier to get filler blindness, as what they call it, or just to do too many procedures. Like, I feel like you can start with one procedure and then you keep seeing everything as a little tweak, and you keep going back to get more and more work done, and then before you know it, you look like a stranger. I'm not saying that's gonna happen to you if you decide to do work, but I mean, I see it. I know people in my real life, you go for one thing and then it ends up becoming 50 procedures in the span of like, what, 2 years? Like, it's insane. Because honestly, I just can't imagine changing how you look permanently before you're even like 20, 21, 22. I feel like it's just really young, and I wonder how it does affect with your self-perception, just because you're changing yourself while your brain is still developing and you're still developing as a human being. You know what I'm saying? So it's definitely weird, but I mean, to each their own, of course. But let's get back to the poll. So then 24% said that they're just following trends, which is a possibility. Although I will say getting work done just to follow trends is not the smartest thing to do, just because trends tend to change every couple of years-ish. Wouldn't recommend it, but I definitely do think, you know, it's a possibility, and it's a reason why some people may go overboard with getting work done, especially when looking a certain way boosts your visibility, can boost your pockets, you know, make your bank account be bumping, or just even give you more opportunity. So I do get it. Pretty privileged, looking good. I 100% get it, and I believe in it. And then 23% said they could have face dysmorphia, which is a heavy answer, but also a real answer, because I do feel like we need to talk more about how normalized cosmetic work has become without always unpacking the mental health side of it. Because we cannot just treat BBLs as getting your nails done. That's not the same thing. Those are two completely different procedures. During Vanna's podcast interview, she casually said, and of course I got my boobs done, I'm just a girl. So she said that when she was explaining what work she has gone and done, and when she was addressing the backlash, and honestly, the way she said it did rub me the wrong way.
I feel like you get fake lips and they think everything on your face is fake.
Yeah.
And then you get Of course, I got my boobs done. I'm just a girl. Come on.
Just a girl, yes.
Because getting your Tia Tamaras done, getting your boobies done, that's not just a small procedure. That's literally a very much serious procedure. And I feel like the way she said it, she kind of just brushed it off. And of course, like, she doesn't owe us a full explanation as to why she got it done or whatever. That's not the point. But I definitely feel like younger people or more impressionable people can take it the wrong way and just see it as nothing, because it's a serious procedure. And I feel like some people kind of talk about these procedures like they're nothing, or they're a very simple thing, or of course I did it because like I'm just a girl. Like, you know what I'm saying? When it comes to like major procedures, like, don't just make it sound cute. Like, you know, gotta give us a tea, because I know those procedures, like, the recovery of it is a lot, and to be half the time people don't even need it. And sure, lots of people get it done. It's a very common procedure, and I feel like it's more trusted than a BBL just because it's been around longer. But I'm always gonna advise people to avoid unnecessary procedures, because it's one thing to want to feel confident and happy in your body, but it's another to downplay the risk and weight of surgery like it's just a normal thing to check off your list. So yeah, you can get what you want, but let's keep it real about what it actually means. But that's just my 2 cents on that little comment. Anyways, back to the poll. So then 21% said probably insecure, and then Ari swiped up and she said something that really stuck out to me, so I just wanted to read what she said. I think it's because of the pressure of beauty standard that put incredible pressure on people, and things like being insecure is a product of it, and then having face dysmorphia is a product of both these things. Personally, it makes me kind of sad for the person, because excessive work on appearance to the point where it starts working against them is such an oxymoron. Because the whole reason why they start is to look young and beautiful, but the system is designed to keep them in the constant cycle of searching for those ideals and never actually reaching them. This is where patriarchy, insane beauty standards meets capitalism. Buy more and you will reach the beauty standard. And I love what she said, just because I agree with the system. I really feel like beauty is capitalism. Like, I be talking about this all the time, but a lot of the things that we're told are flaws are just normal things. Like, they're literally not flaws. They're just created to be flaws to sell you product, to make you get filler every couple of months, to get a BBL, to get your boobs done, to get whatever. Like, that's literally it. You're told that these procedures will make you look prettier, younger, and look hotter, when in reality these procedures are taken away from your beauty. Of course, this is not the case for everyone. Sure, some people it's so natural to the point where we can't tell, but for a lot of people I do feel like it does take away their beauty, because the work is just always obvious, if that makes sense. Like, a lot of these people who are licensed to be giving filler, y'all should get it revoked, because the things I be seeing, I'm just like, hello? But honestly, that's why I love when you guys swipe up to my stories, because I love just keeping it up with you guys, and y'all just add such good points to the video. So thank you, and make sure you follow me on Instagram so you can be part of future polls. But let's continue with this video, and let's talk about Sierra and Iris. Sierra is a very controversial figure from Love Island, and I understand why, but I'm still gonna be fair on my thoughts and opinions on the whole situation with her, and how people have been treating her, and also how people have been coming for her looks. She is not a fan favorite at all, and that's for 2 reasons. A, because people thought that she was throwing herself at Nick, and B, which is the bigger issue, she used a racial slur against the Asian community, and the posts were recently leaked. Honestly, the whole thing with Sierra is very messy. When you use a slur online, especially as a public figure, there are going to be consequences, and I don't think anyone's denying that. But the way things played out after she got removed from Love Island honestly just feels like it went too far. People called ICE on her family. They sent her and her family death threats as well. Like, literally, what are we doing? Y'all claim that you want to hold her accountable, but how is that holding her accountable? How is threatening her life holding her accountable? Just answer that question for me, please. Accountability is when you want people to take responsibility for their actions and acknowledge where they went wrong and do better in the future. But it sounds like y'all just want her off the face of the earth. It's not giving accountability. Also, if you don't know, ICE stands for U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement. So it's a federal agency under the Department of Homeland Security that's responsible for enforcing immigration laws, among other things. Like, they're best known for deporting people, doing home raids on undocumented immigrants, and they also have detention centers there as well. So people calling ICE on Sierra's family is extremely serious, because it's basically weaponizing immigration immigration enforcement in retaliation, which can traumatize families and put people at real risk. Sierra admitted that the post was wrong and she deleted it as soon as someone explained what the word actually meant and tried to educate herself and the people around her. So I feel like that should count for something. You don't have to instantly forgive her, but when people are trying to learn and grow and we still try to attack them, it stops being about change and it starts being about humiliation. And this happens a lot online. We say that we want people to do better, but when the time comes to do better, we keep attacking them and allow absolutely no change. Even after they apologize, like they're constantly a target. And at this point, to me, it's past accountability. People are intentionally trying to make her and her family feel unsafe for something that she said. Like, come on, y'all. Like, I know the word is bad and I understand that. And it's not my place to say I accept the apology or not, because I am not part of the community that slur is targeted towards. But I still feel like y'all are doing a lot. Like, y'all are actually doing a lot, and calling ICE on someone's family is literally insane. I honestly feel like the show needs to step in earlier when stuff like this starts bubbling up online, because if they don't, social media is gonna keep turning these moments into all-out takedowns, and that doesn't help anyone. Like on Twitter, on TikTok, like y'all are crazy. Like the way that some people feel so connected to the Love Island cast, like the parasocial relationship is really parasocialing, because people were insulting other people on other people's behalves. Like it was honestly crazy, and I never knew Love Island brought out such strong emotions in the viewers. Like it was crazy. If I'm watching an episode, I may get heated during the episode, but after the episode, it's chill. But some people, they get heated during the episode and they tweet terrible, nasty things against other people, or they'll make a whole TikTok video dragging one particular person because, let's say, they got in a fight with their fave. Like it's actually insane. The parasocial relationships need to chill, please. But that is the controversy surrounding Sierra. I wanted to get that out of the way because it is a pretty big deal and it would be weird to talk about her and not talk about what happened. But another thing regarding Sierra I want to talk about is her looks, what people have been saying. So it seems like Sierra has gotten lip filler, and I don't believe that she has confirmed or denied this, but by pictures and by what other people have said online, it does look like she has gotten some filler in her lips. And the way people have been bullying her for how she looks is actually insane. I am so sorry. I've never seen such passion from people. Love Island really brought out the worst in a lot of people online. The main criticism about Sierra's appearance is her lips. They feel like it's too big, like she's always pouting and it doesn't look good, it's not flattering. A lot of people think that it's overfilled. I saw this aesthetic injector on TikTok break it down. So she said that Sierra's lip filler might have been placed incorrectly, like it's distorting the way her top lip sits naturally. And the only way to fix that is to dissolve it and start fresh, which definitely does sound intense, but it makes me think. I'm just like, these people who are giving out these services, like the people who are doing lip fillers, like are just filler in face or whatever. I've seen so many people who look overfilled, who look like their injections have migrated or just doesn't look good, and their service providers are still injecting more. I'm just like, how are y'all getting your licenses? Why is it that so many people have filler that is migrating? Their injector is not telling them, hey, let's dissolve it first and then give you more. Like, I feel like it's becoming a money grab and they're not really prioritizing their clients and how they look. They're prioritizing their bank account. That's what it's giving. And the thing is that it's not only Sierra who's having issues with her filler. So the fact that it is so common, I'm just like, who is giving y'all the licenses? Like, why do you guys keep injecting these people's faces when you know it's incorrect or it doesn't look good? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh. And that's why I always say, if you're gonna do cosmetic work, you gotta be careful about who you go to, how often you're gonna do it, and whether you actually need it in the first place. Because when something as small as lip filler is placed incorrectly, the whole internet will turn that into your personality. Like, seriously. If you go on TikTok, the videos about Sierra, they're crazy. They're making fun of her. The comments, like, oh my God. If I went on Love Island, I would not go on my phone for a straight month. I would hire someone to take care of my social media for me, and I would not touch my phone at all. And the worst part of it all is that when it's done badly, it doesn't become just a physical thing. It becomes a psychological thing as well. Because you're walking around with this version of yourself that doesn't even look like you. And then the internet makes it a meme, of course. I've never gotten filler in my face, so I can't necessarily relate to Sierra. I don't know if she has any thoughts about her lip filler. She's never really addressed it. So I can't relate to that, but I definitely can relate to when something about you is off physically, it definitely throws you off psychologically. Because I used to get styes when I was younger, and if you don't know, it's just like like a bump on your eye, but mine were like bigger and they would not go away. Like I actually had to get surgery to get them off because like they would not go away. And something like that is just very annoying to have, especially when you're younger, because looks are a big thing, and I would get made fun of by the kids because they'd be like, what's on your eye? And it just really weighs you down because it's literally just one thing, and because it's off, people will keep on talking about it. You'll look in the mirror, that's all you see. So I can definitely relate in that sense where something is off physically, so it's gonna start messing with your mental, and definitely did mess with mine because I was like, damn, I'm ugly, I'm never gonna find someone. And it's worse because it happened when I was a kid and my brain was still developing, so I was definitely not happy with that. But thankfully I passed that stage in my life. But honestly, it's hard, and can't imagine millions of people talking about me in that way, because at that time it was only kids in my school. So imagine being on national TV and every international TV, low-key, because a lot of people are watching the Love Island, not just Americans too. So it's crazy, honestly. And y'all gotta stop trusting these random people with syringes, because clearly a lot of them don't know what they're doing. And the thing with Sierra is that she's doing exactly what so many people, especially women, feel pressured to do. We are constantly being sold ways to fix our faces and bodies. We got filler, Botox, snatch jaws, fox eyes. The options are literally endless. And the messaging is pretty clear. If you don't tweak something, you're falling behind. If you age, you're letting yourself go. As if aging is not a natural process. Like, hello? Age gracefully, but also don't age. And get work done, but don't make it obvious that you got work done. It's this impossible middle ground that no one can actually win. And that's the paradox. While some people will say, if you do a little bit of work and you don't go overboard, you'll be fine. It's only the people who do a lot, they're the ones who look crazy. And I hear what you're saying. That sounds like a balanced take, but the issue is that the amount of people going overboard, it's a lot. We are seeing more and more people whose faces are starting to look different. It's puffier, it's tighter, and it's not in an empowering way or freeing. Honestly, it's just kind of sad. And it makes you wonder, have they internalized their flaws so deeply that they can't see themselves clearly anymore? At what point does this become less about self-improvement and more about self-erasure and just conforming? Or honestly, we can ask ourselves this too, if it's the industry itself. Are the aesthetic providers not stopping their clients when it's clearly too much? Are they just in it for the money, pushing tweak after tweak, touch-up after touch-up, because each syringe is a paycheck? So when we do talk about overdone filler, it's not enough just to blame individuals. We have to zoom out and look at the system, the one that profits off of our insecurities and tells us we're quite never enough the way we are. So Iris Kendall was another Islander whose appearance was talked about, but in a good way. She came on the show as a bombshell, and honestly, there's not really much controversy surrounding her, but I just want to talk about her briefly. People loved her, they loved how she looked, and they especially loved her pout. Iris has not confirmed whether she has gotten lip filler or not, but it looks like she has, but it does look very natural. And I also read an article by The Sun, and they were talking to aesthetic injectors, and they think that she has gotten mid-face filler, but Iris has never confirmed this, so we really don't know. Either way, I wanted to bring up Iris's lips because it's really interesting how when we admire someone's looks, one of the first questions or remarks is like, who's the doctor, or what procedures did she get done? And I feel like that tells you a lot. The default assumption now isn't that she's just pretty, it's she must have gotten something done. And because cosmetic work is so normalized now, I feel like we don't even trust natural beauty anymore. It's almost like the default assumption is that if someone looks good, there must be a doctor or a syringe somewhere in the story. And I will admit, I do that too. I mentioned that earlier. And it's just because I don't want to be scammed. Like don't be trying to sell me your workout routine when you got a BBL. At least say you got a BBL so we know what we're working with. Don't be trying to lie to us that it's natural and you got it in the gym and then sell us a program. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't like deceptive marketing. And also, just because cosmetic work is so normalized and most people, like 9 times out of 10, people who are in the spotlight have gotten something done, I do always automatically think that people have gotten something done. That's just me. That's just how my brain works because of the normalization of surgery and cosmetic work. But honestly, it's kind of sad when you think about it because I feel like we are slowly getting to a point, and low-key we're already at that point where we attach beauty to procedures. Like, beauty is attached to plastic surgery or cosmetic work. Like, it's not just in its element, natural genetics, you're born with it. And it just makes you think, like, when did beauty become so manufactured? However, the bigger issue here is how the baseline for what's normal has been shifted. When flawless skin, plump lips, and perfect symmetry become the standard, regular human features start looking like flaws. Like, it's actually insane. Features that are passed down to us, we're looking at them like they're flaws. Humans were never meant to look this perfect. Like, that's what I'm gonna say. We were never meant to look this perfect. That might sound cliche, but it is the truth. And in the end of the day, no one's perfect. No one has a perfect face, perfect body, perfect whatever. Because that's a social construct. Y'all are trying to trick us into what's perfect. Literally, like if the media said that having a big belly was considered attractive, then that would be the new standard. You get what I'm saying? Like, who decides what's pretty? You know what I'm saying? Honestly, we were never meant to look so similar, but here we are. It's okay to want to feel good about how you look, but let's also normalize being a human with pores, lines, textures, and with everything that comes with being alive. At the end of the day, beauty is not about erasing any sign that you've lived. It's about owning the face and body that you have without apology. But here's the thing. The rules of beauty aren't the same for everyone. Who gets to be called pretty or beautiful isn't just about looks. It's tied up with race, bias, and social standards that go far deeper than we would actually like to admit. That's why when we look at Islanders Shelly and Orlandria, who are two beautiful Black women who have faced totally different reactions than their fellow Islanders, it becomes clear the beauty game is still playing favorites. And the question we have to ask is, part 3. Who gets to be pretty? You know I could not end this video without talking about Shelly and Orlandria. They were extremely popular contestants on the show, and they were honestly one of my favorite contestants too. They got a lot of love, a lot of hate, so we gotta talk about it. This season of Love Island really brought out a diverse cast, and that's the main reason why I was also tuned in to check it out. Because I'll be honest, if I'm watching a show and it's like all white people, I'm not gonna watch it. Simple. Like, I've already grown up watching a lot of movies and shows that only had white cast, and the diversity was lacking, you know what I'm saying? So I'm over that, honestly. Like, the cast has to be diverse. Like, right now I'm currently watching Love Island UK, and I don't know, there's definitely a big difference between Love Island UK versus the USA version. Both are very interesting. I'm low-key clocking how Love Island UK be treating Black women, but that's besides the point. Hey everyone, it's Editing NK here, and I just wanted to hop in to say that I did make a full video about this, about my thoughts on Love Island UK. I will link that down below. It is on my other channel, NK & Co, so make sure you check it out to get the full tea. Now let's continue with the video. I attempted to watch Love Island Australia. That one, I could not get past 2 episodes because the cast was very much white. It was not intriguing me. But anyways, back to Love Island USA. So they brought out a very diverse cast. Half of the original Islanders were Black, which is a big deal in a genre that historically treats Black women as an afterthought or a plot device. And yet, despite the step in numbers, the way Black women like Shelly and Orlandria were treated reveals that the game isn't exactly fair. So Shelly and Orlandria, they came into the villa as strong contenders, quickly forming a bond and supporting each other through all the drama. But their journey also did highlight how Black women still face the double standards on shows like this, especially dark-skinned Black women who don't fit the usual ethnically ambiguous or white-presenting type that producers often seem to prefer. Honestly, shows like Love Island want us to buy into this fantasy, that it's all just fun, light-hearted romance and drama. But under the surface, the same old issues about race and who gets to be pretty, liked, and loved still run deep. The way that Shelly and Orlandria were targeted this season was crazy, because it didn't just come from online trolls. It came from actual media corporations, like actual businesses. I did not see any other Islander get attacked for their actions by a major corporation. And a lot of their actions were a bit crazy compared to Shelly. So it was, let me just explain. So in the villa, the Islanders take part in several different challenges. Most of them involve making out, dry humping, like it was it was a lot. The worst one was that milk challenge. That milk challenge was nasty. I don't know who the hell thought of that challenge. Y'all go fire them because it's not cute. Anyway, so there's this challenge called heart rate. And the whole point of this challenge was for a couple to make one of the Islanders' heart rate go up. People would twerk, kiss them, shake their booty, just do random stuff to get their, you know, the heart pumping. So during the challenge, things got steamy, they got spicy, and this part we did not see because literally the camera cut. I'm like, cameraman, you had one job and you cut like you did. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, in this scene, Huda apparently twerked on Ace's face to get his heart rate going up. And Shelly did not like that because Ace is her man. they were in a couple. So after the challenge, Shelly was mad and Huda tried to apologize to her the same night, but Shelly was still mad that same night. So she was like, girl, you know what? Let's talk tomorrow because I am heated and I don't want to say something out of character.
Actually, tomorrow we can have a chat because tonight I don't want to have a chat because I know I'm aggravated and annoyed, so.
And that was their discussion that night. After that episode, the way that these brands were coming for Shelly was crazy. So BuzzFeed Tasty, they're part of BuzzFeed, but they're the food version of the company. So anyways, they made a post about giving Shelly a knuckle sandwich. And a knuckle sandwich is a slang term that means a punch to the face. And as soon as they posted it, people were calling them out because they're like, yo, you're inciting violence on a Black woman. We're not about that life. And then on top of that, Time magazine misquoted Shelly, accusing her of rude behavior when in fact she did handle the situation with maturity. And they were referring to when Shelly told Huda that, yo, I don't want to talk right now because I'm heated. Let's talk tomorrow. They made her seem like the villain in that situation, and it's crazy because her response was very much mature. Like, can we all be honest about that? Even if you disagree that Shelly should not have been mad at Huda, I think that we can all agree that Shelly's response to Huda was mature. And Time did correct this error because people called them out. They're like, that's not what Shelly said. Go watch the tapes again, rewind the tapes because y'all are lying on Shelly's name. And honestly, it's just crazy to me that such a big and respected brand, well, I don't know if Time magazine is respected now, but such a big brand can make an error like that. How hard is it to go and watch the episode again? Like, what? And the way that these two companies were moving, it definitely made me side-eye them because on this show, we have seen worse behavior from people who do not look like Shelly. So that's where I'm just like, why are you guys intentionally targeting Shelly when there was worse done by other islanders and y'all kept it hush? If you didn't watch the season, I'll be honest, Huda and Amaya had some crazy moments too during the show. Especially Huda. Like, I'm not even trying to attack the girl, but she definitely had some questionable moments. And the things that these brands said about Shelly, they definitely should not say it to Huda, but I'm just saying, like, if y'all are gonna go after someone for behaving a certain way, why didn't you guys do the same thing with Huda? It's just very questionable that they chose Shelly to attack. But on top of all of this foolishness that Shelly and Olandria have been dealing with, they were the subject of racist memes and harmful imagery online. Yet the show itself has stayed silent, failing to condemn this clear anti-Blackness aimed at the cast. And the fact that these respected media companies and brands feel empowered to spread this misinformation shows how normalized these microaggressions have become. So Kiki Palmer interviewed Shelly and Olandria for a podcast, and let me just say, I wasn't a huge fan of the interview only because I would have preferred it to be separate. I would have preferred an in-depth interview with Olandria and then an in-depth interview with Shelly so we can know more about them. And also, I feel like Kiki was answering a lot of questions for Shelly and Olandria, which I didn't like. Girl, just ask the question and let them interpret it and answer. So I wasn't a huge fan of the interview, if I'm being honest. Like, I wasn't really giving. But I'm so happy that they're able to go online and speak their truth. Anyways, while being interviewed, Olandria said that she felt like she constantly had to tone down her feelings so she would not be seen as doing too much. And she said that it's exhausting because if someone else who doesn't look like them gets emotional, people just have to accept it or support it. But for them, it's a different story. She basically asked, what about us? And Shelly added that the other islanders actually saw them as people they could trust and talk to, not the mean girls the audience made them out to be. And Olandria was clear that if someone else, someone who doesn't look like them, acted the same way, they would not get the same amount of hate or criticism. And honestly, it's true. The double standard is definitely painful, but it's real and we see it all the time. And that raises a big question. Who really gets to be pretty or accepted without all of these extra rules? Black women on reality shows often get judged more harshly on their appearance than others, facing comments that are outright racist or just rooted in colorism. They've been called everything from unattractive to being compared negatively with lighter-skinned or white castmates. Both Shelly and Olandria are very beautiful, but the way people are coming for them just doesn't make sense. I honestly saw a lot of people on Twitter and TikTok coming for Olandria's looks. It was insane. The comments were harsh and often crossed the line into something that's more than just criticism. It wasn't just about preferences. It felt like a targeted attack on her appearance. And I'm telling you right now, don't say I didn't warn you. If you are a public figure, you're famous or whatever, do not search up your name on Twitter or X. Don't do it. Because people do not hold back with how they feel about you or how they feel about how you look, especially because a lot of those accounts are anonymous, so they feel so free to say whatever they want. It's like people go online and just become a whole new person. Like, y'all are evil people. But despite all of the hate Shelly and Orlandria faced, they also got a lot of love and support. Because honestly, a lot of us are just fed up with the double standards Black women have to deal with, especially when it comes to beauty. We're tired of seeing Black women constantly attacked for their looks or for not fitting into some narrow ideal beauty standard. What's frustrating too is that a lot of these so-called beauty standards are built on people who have had work done or who have altered themselves to fit that mold. Yet, Black women are often held to impossible expectations, judged harshly if we don't conform or even when we just exist as our authentic selves. Honestly, it's so important that we keep uplifting Black women and anyone who's ever been made to feel less than just because they don't fit into these narrow beauty ideals. True beauty isn't about fitting a mold. It's about showing up and being yourself even when the world is trying to tell you that you're ugly. Because at the end of the day, who gets to be pretty isn't up for debate. It's everyone's right. And hopefully you have been able to answer this question. Who really gets to decide what pretty looks like? And what does that mean for everyone watching? Thank you all so much for watching this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. You can also check out my second account, NK & Co, where I post the behind the scenes of my life and all that tea and all I'm saying. And I will see you in my next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.